Today we look at the law of cosines, also known as the cosine rule. And our goal today is to use the law of cosine or cosine rule to solve for unknown sides of oblique triangles. Just recall oblique triangles. There are triangles that do not have a right angle. To use the cosine rule, we use it whenever we have triangles that have two sides, and the angles between them. And we want to find one or the other side. So we have two sides and one angle, and we want to find the third side. Or, as we see in the next lesson, we want to find a missing angle. And in that case, we'll be given all three sides. Previously, we looked at the sine rule, but in the sine rule, we need a matching pair, or we need a complete partnership to use the sine rule. For triangles that have an angle and its matching side, we can apply the sine rule. But in triangles, when we don't have a matching pair, in other words, the angle and the side, or the angle and in this case, we have the angle and the side. Here we have the side and not the angle. Then we have to use the cosine rule. The law of cosine states, in an oblique triangle, to find one of the sides is equal to a square, the missing side here, is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos angle A. And we are going to be solving for sides using this rule. So recall, the sides are labeled in lowercase letters, A, B, C, and the angles in uppercase letter, A, B, and C. So this rule is used when we have two sides and the angle between them. So we have two sides. In this example we showed you earlier. We have two sides and there's one angle between them. We'll apply the cosine rule. The cosine rule can be extended for any sides, but for our purpose, we will use this one, and it can apply to any triangles that are given the angle and the two sides between them. The other forms of the sine rule are b squared equal a squared plus c squared minus 2c cos b, or c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c. We don't need to use these other two. For our lesson, we will focus on using a squared equal b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos angle A. Let's look at one example. In this example, we're asked to find side A. So recall in our previous lesson on sine rule, once we label the sides, and the sides are all given here, A, which is we don't know, we call that X. And we're given two sides. We're given side C, so we label that side C. And we're given side B, because this is the side opposite the angle. And we're asked to find side A when given angle A. So recall our formula, our sine rule, or cosine rule. We are going to apply this a squared equal b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos angle A. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos angle A. So this is our formula. Next, we write what's given. We are given side we're given side B, which is 375, side C, 400, and angle A, 35 degrees. And we have to find side A. I'll rewrite my equation here. A squared is equal to b squared plus our next step is to substitute our given values, B, C, and A, into our cosine rule. We don't know what A is, so we read that as A squared. B squared is 375 squared plus C, which is 400, minus 2. Now, I don't like to use brackets at this stage because it put together what I would like to calculate. So they are grouped. So multiply by, so I'm going to put the bracket around that. You don't have to, but it helps in your calculations. Minus 2 of B is 375. Multiply by 400. Cos for angle is 35 degrees. Now I go to my beautiful calculator and I have A squared. I'll go to my calculator here and work these out for this example. We have 375 squared, which is 140,625 plus 400 squared. Now I'll do all of these together as one. So 2 times 375 times 400. Now, I'll leave cos 35 as it is for now. And I will simplify the b squared plus c squared. B squared is equal to, so we have 375 squared. I'll show you later on. You don't have to do it the long way, but I'm just showing you step by step at this stage how to do the calculations. But we could have done this way. So gives me 300,000 625 minus, now I will cos 35 times this huge number here. So 300,000, or another way of doing this would be 2 times 375 times 400 times cos 35. And make sure your calculator is in degree mode. You want to be in degree mode for this here. So we have that times cos 35. I will simplify the right side. That will give me 300,000. So we have this huge number here. 625 minus 54,879.386. Notice I haven't truncated these. I used the exact value. In other words, I did not round yet. You only round until you reach the final answer. Now we have a squared is equal to 54,879.38671, and it goes on. To solve for a, we have to square root both sides. And this is the logic behind it. Square root both sides. The square root of anything to the power of 2 is value a. So a so I square rooted both sides of the equation. Now I go to my calculator. So square root of 54,879 decimal 38671. So this gives me a measurement of 234.26 meters. So we can conclude that side A, 234.26 meters. That's what we're finding. Let's look at some examples from your booklet. And there are two examples I would like to go over today. Remember, we use this cosine rule because we do not have a matching pair, but we know two sides and the angle in between. So whenever we know two sides and angle in between, we're focusing on the cosine rule. Let's look at the examples in your booklet on page 21. The first example asks you to find side x. Example 1. So we label the sides. Remember, our formula is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos angle A. So we'll record what's given, but before we do that, we label our triangle. So label, because we're finding A, we want to label our missing side that we want to find A. So the angle opposite that side will be labeled capital A. The side that we know, we can name them either B or C. It's your choice. But for in our case, I'll label side B and this side C. Because we need these two sides, because they're in these two sides 70, so 70 cos 51. We simplify 25 plus 49, 74. Now we need a calculator for the next part. So 71 cos 51. 70 cos 51. 44.052427. And this goes up. 74, 74 minus my answer. It gives me 29. This one, 94757. Now I solve for A. So A squared is equal to 29.947. Square root both sides. By square rooting both sides, I will simplify A squared to A. Sorry about that. Next, I perform my operation, square root of. In the graphing calculator, I'm storing the answer. And A is equal to 5.47. So I round it to two decimal places. So side A is 5.47 meters. Reviewing, step 1, we label our triangle, side angle A, side A. Because we are using A squared equal B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine angle A, we set up our triangle where A is either the missing side or the what you're asking to find, side or the missing angle. And it's always the angle between two sides given. So you look at the two sides and the angle in between. That angle in between becomes angle A. So you need these two sides to use this specific cosine rule. So I'll highlight. We'll look at the next example. I'll rewrite my cosine rule here, B squared C squared minus 2BC cos angle A. So the next step is to label the sides and the angles. We will label the angle in between the two sides, angle A. And X will be angle side A because it is the side opposite the angle A. The other two sides we label as B and C. If we label this as B, this becomes angle B. And this is C and side C. So we have one unknown and three knowns. So let's record what's given. So we have given B equals 15 feet. C is 23 feet. Angle A, 29 degrees. And he has to find side A. Our next step is to substitute our given values into our cosine rule. A is not given, so leave it as A to the power 2. B is 15 squared, or B is 15, so 15 squared. C is 23. . I'll group these into by putting brackets. Minus 2 times B is 15 times C 23 cos 29 degrees. 15 square 225, 3 square 529 minus 2 times 15 is 30. Now I'll leave my calculator here. Go over here. 2 times 15 times 23 give you 690. A squared. So 225 plus 754. 690. 690 cos 29 is 603.4875979. That goes on. I will simplify the right side. 754 minus 150.5124021. Solve for A. Square root both sides. Square rooting both sides, we simplify A squared to A. Next, I enter the square root. I square root 150.5124021. A equals 12.27. Notice, if you do not use the exact values in your calculator, you may end up with a different final answer. So that's one of the reasons you do not round until the final answer. So be careful whenever you're using your calculator that you do not round too early. A 12.27 feet. To review, whenever we're given a triangle that has two angles and an angle in between, and you're asked to find the missing side, we use the cosine rule. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos angle A. Step 2, we label our triangle. And the side that we're asked to find should be labeled A to make your calculation simpler. Once we have the missing side A, then the angle opposite that A will be angle A. And we label the two sides around the angle B and C. So this could have been B, that could have been C, it doesn't matter. And the angle opposite the sides are labeled accordingly, B and C. Then we write down what's given, what we need to find, then substitute what's given into our cosine rule and follow through with your calculation. Be careful not to mix up b squared plus c squared. Okay, this is a negative here. You need to separate the two when you're calculating. I prefer to use brackets around minus 2bc cosine angle A because it helps in your calculation or your computations.